All right, this is 6th grade math 4.4, page 186 in your book. And I was trying to write the key concept, so this might look a little bit different. I was writing out the key concept. I noticed it was right on the top of the page there. So let's talk about this vocabulary, and I'm going to do the vocabulary by making a picture of a division, or just putting a division problem. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and I'm going to tell you which numbers these are. The dividend is the number that's getting split up. It goes under the box. The divisor is what you're dividing by. So the divisor in this problem would be 3, and the quotient is the answer. So the quotient is 5. So the quotient is the answer to a division problem. The dividend is what you're dividing, the whole number you're dividing, or decimal number, I guess. And the divisor is the number on the outside. So let's take a look at the key concept. Your key concept for dividing a decimal by a whole number is check out the words. When dividing a decimal and you're writing this is what you're putting on your paper. This is the key concept box along with all of this whole page. When dividing a decimal by a whole number, place the decimal point in the quotient above the point in the dividend. Okay, so let's look at that with the numbers. It has 6 into 32.4. So what you're supposed to do when dividing a decimal, this is the decimal number right here, by the whole number right here, place the decimal point in the quotient above the point in the dividend. So basically you bring that point straight up, pretend like it's not there, and just divide. 6 goes into 32 5 times, which is 30. Subtract, bring down. 6 goes into 24 4 times, which is 24. And then there's 0 left over. So that answer would be 5.4. So write the key concept out. If you need to pause, do that right now. Write that there. So basically what it's saying is you just bring the decimal straight up. That's it. All right, let's take a look at some examples. It says dividing a decimal by a whole number. Your soccer team orders sports cards for each player. You buy a set of 8 cards for $9.92. How much do you pay for each card? So to find the answer to the question above about sports cards, find 992 divided by 8. So here we have our decimal on the inside. We just bring it straight up, and then we just divide. 8 goes into 9 once. Bring that down. Subtract. Bring down. 8 goes into 19 2 times, which is 16. Subtract. Bring down the 2. I'd already brought down the 9. Bringing down the 2. 8 goes into 32 4 times, which is exact. And then you're done. So let's see, how much do you pay for each card? So we should put a dollar sign on that. You pay $1.24. So let's see, there's placing the decimal point. Then there's the division. Look at, they're doing all the steps that we did. Probably the worst thing about division is, yes, there's lots of steps. Just take them one at a time. So this one says find the quotient. So we just bring the first thing you do is deal with the decimal. You bring it straight up. And then you just divide. 5 goes into 13 twice. Subtract, bring down this 5. 7 goes into 35 7 times. So that answer is 2.7. Same thing, bring the decimal straight up. 4 goes into 24 6 times, which is 24. Bring down the 8. 4 goes into 8 twice. Done. Look how nice those turn out to be. 6.2. Bring the decimal straight up. 7 won't go into 4, so we can put a 0 right there. Then you take 7 into 44, which goes 6 times, which is 42. Subtract, bring down. 7 goes into 28 4 times. So 64 hundredths. Ooh, they didn't tell us the answer, did they? Let me double check. Yep, we're right. Okay, example number 2, writing additional zeros. Check out what happens on this problem. And here, just an FYI, when you have numbers written this way, the first number said is the dividend. So it goes in the box. 14 is being divided by 8. And divided by is the divisor part. So 8 goes into 14. Now, look what happens here, guys. 8 goes into 14 only once. It does go into 14, but it only goes once, and there'd be 6 left over. Now, in math, probably, maybe you did decimals in the past couple of years, but in the past you might just go 1 remainder 6. But since we're dealing with decimals, they want us to continue on. So we can't stop until this number ends up to be a 0. So we need to bring down other numbers. Well, in order to have numbers to bring down, we have to add some zeros. And remember, if I put a decimal point there, that's still equal to 14. I just add zeros so I can bring them down. So then I bring that 0 down, and I put the decimal up since I had to add it in there. 8 goes into 67 times, which is 56. Subtract, bring down another 0. You add as many zeros as you need to. And once you end up with nothing left over right here, you don't have to add any more zeros. It would be 1.75. Let's see how they do it. Notice they write additional zeros. I wrote 2. I usually just write 2, and if I don't need both of them, I don't use them. If I need to add another one, I add another one as we go. And so you can see they are coming up with the same thing we did, and the answer's 1 75/100. So using zeros as placeholders, the batting average is the number of hits divided by the number of times at bat. Find the batting average of a player who made 7 hits in 23 times at bat. Round your answer to the nearest thousandth. Okay, this is where place value comes important. Thousandth, remember, if this is the decimal place, that's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that's the number we need to round. So we have to go out 4 places so we can round to that third place. So we have to divide the number of hits by the number of times at bat. Now remember, when you were a little kid, you could go, oh, can't do it. 7 can't be divided by 23. But it can now that you're older. Guess what? 23 won't go into 7. So you add a 0 up there. You say, nope, it won't go in. But you add a decimal point so you can add zeros. Now I know I have to add 4 zeros because I have to go out, look over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 places to round it to the thousandth. I have to go to the 10,000th so I can see the number to the right of the thousandth. So I'm going to bring that decimal straight up. And now I take 23 into 70. That's going to go 3 times, which is 60, 20, 46, 69. And then bring this one down. Okay, now look at that. I brought it down, and 23 won't go into 10. So you have to put a 0 above there saying it won't go in, and bring another 0 down. 23 into 100 goes, let's see, 5 20s is 100, so it's going to have to go 4 times, I believe. Over here to the side, I get kids all the time, they say, I don't know how many times 23 times 4 is. Well, go to the side and do it. That's 92. Subtract, that's 8. Bring down this last 0 so we can round. 23 goes into there, less than 4. It looks like it's going to be 3 times again. And we can stop. We don't need to go any farther. This number isn't enough to round this number up, so our answer stays 0.300. Let me say it the right way. 304 thousandths. Let's see how they do it. So they wrote the 4 zeros, as many as needed, just like we did. They put those zeros in. They did the 4. Okay, and it said stop when it reached the 10,000th place, so you didn't have to go any farther. A lot of times people will come up to me and they'll say, it's going forever. It takes like your whole page, and they have all these numbers. They have all these numbers going out here. Tons of numbers going all the way out here, and I'll look at the instructions and it said, hey, you just round to the nearest thousandth. You could have stopped right here. So make sure you read the directions. Sometimes that can be a stumbling block. So the directions on the guided practice for number 4 says divide, round to the nearest thousandth if necessary. So if it works out so we don't have to go that far, then we won't. 26 divided by 4. 4 goes into 26 6 times, which is 24. Subtract. I can't end because that's not a 0, so I add a point and a 0. We'll just add zeros as we need to. 4 goes into 25 times, and guess what happens? It's done. We ended up with a 0, so that's one of those if necessary. It's not necessary to go all the way out to the thousandths. The answer is just 6.5. Ooh. All right, we're going to go 15.2000 divided by 30. So we bring our decimal straight up. Okay, 30 into 150, and there's a little thing called the first digit trick. 3 will go into 15 5 times. So let's see, 30 times 5 would be 150. So it goes in there 3 times, which is 150. Subtract, bring down the 0. 30 won't go into 20, which is the 0 we brought down, so we have to put a 0 up there saying it wouldn't go. Then we automatically bring the next 0 down. 30 into, I think that's going to be 6, 180. Subtract, we get 20, bring that 0 down. It's going to be a 6 again. So it said round to the thousandth, so now we're out here enough. This 6 tells us to make that one go up. So the answer is going to be 0.307. Let's see if we got that right. What? Oh, that's a 5. You guys, you probably caught that number. Look, 30 times 5 was 150. That's supposed to be a 5. So it's going to be 507. And I don't think they have it right. Oh, they didn't round it. It says in the book, round to the nearest thousandth. See, that's what we came up with. We just rounded this number up to 7. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. 49.92 divided by 8. So we bring our decimal straight up. 8 goes into 49. 8 times 6 is 48. Bring down the 9. 8 goes into 19 twice, which is 16. Subtract 32. 8 goes into 32 4 times. 6.24, because that's going to come out exact. Done. We don't have any rounding to do. 6 24/100ths. Number 7, 29. And these are long. I know long division, there's a reason why it's called long division. It takes some steps. So just do them. Just take them step by step. So we divide. 12 goes into 29 2 times, which is 24. Subtract, bring down. 12 goes into 53 4 times, because 12 times 4 is 48. Subtract, you get a 5. Bring down the 7. I'm going to run out of room. 12 goes into 57. 5 times is 60. That's, so it's got to be a 4, which is 48. 48, that's going to be a 9. Add a 0. That's a 9. You can't see it. 12 goes into 90. 12 times 7 is 84. So I'm going to bring this up here. There's my 90. 84. You'd have a 6. Add another 0, which would make that a 5. And I'm going to sneeze. This one says to round it up to 8, but I don't know if the book will round it. Let's see what they do. Yep, they did that time. Isn't that funny? They didn't back there on number 5, but they did down here on number 7. I don't know. Crazy. So number 8 says, suppose the player in example 3 makes 10 hits at 33 times at bat. What's the player's batting average? So 10 divided by 33. Add some zeros. It won't go into 10. 3 times is 99. 10. Bring down the 0. I did bring down the 0, sorry. It won't go in there, so we add another 0 to bring down. Goes in there 3 again, which is going to be 99. Add the 0. Won't go in there. So it'd be about a 303 batting average. Yes. All right. Well, it's a matter of writing out your work. Be really neat, especially, with the division, and just do each step by step. Practice those multiplication facts. That's it for 4.4. We'll see you next time.